the structure, and 2, you've got the correct evidence to support the different things that you're talking about. So, if you don't know them, it doesn't matter, because I'm just asking you the question to make sure that you know where to go. If you haven't done it, it's guidance to say, well, you should be doing this. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, so now, in terms of the visa itself, what happens is, you've now got your structure, it's good, okay, you've got your structure, so you know what you should be doing and the content, and I've asked you the questions and given you feedback, and so you know what you should be doing. That's my objective, where we should be. And then what happens is, when you come into the Viva, and we'll say more about it next week as well, when you come to the Viva, effectively, you've got these sort of 7 or 8 areas, or these, you've got a set of bullet points to do, which are 1 sentences. That's your aid memoirs, we call it. That's your supported document. And all you're going to do is, you know you've got these 8 or 9 things that you need to say, and you're going to talk about them. You're not going, da-da, da-da. It's not a presentation like that. It's not a newscast report, perfect. You stumble your way through it, fantastic. You just know you've got to tell me about the CEO. You've got to tell me what his traits are, what the evidence of his traits are. You've got that. Okay? You're doing the work on it, so you know it. The only time I will ask you questions are, for instance, like one of your colleagues who I saw on the train, the DLR earlier, who's not here now and she's not attending. You know, I'll be very keen to ask her questions, because I don't think she knows what she's doing. She can't do, she's not attending. You're an intermittent attender, and so, you know, if you haven't had an interview with me beforehand, I'll be asking you lots of questions, but the chances are you are not. You're going to do your work and show it to me. I've had the interview with you, I know whether you've done it or not. If I haven't had an interview with you, and you haven't shown me your documents, then the chances are it's not your work. So I'll have to ask you questions. But otherwise, I won't ask you questions unless I don't think you've had the ability to score enough, and I want to get you some more marks, so I'll ask you a question. But the chances are, I won't ask you anything.
So, can you give us an example? Questions?
Well, I can't, because it could be explain those references. You know, I've seen your questions today, and did I question them? No. It'd be by exception. If I turn around and see, you know.
No, I was
if
it's theory, if I need to learn something extra, then what?
No, I will ask you by exception. I'll ask you, the only time I'm going to ask you questions is if you've done either, it's not your work, I don't believe it's your work, okay? I believe the references are false, or because you've given me such a poor answer that you will fail unless I ask you some more questions to get you. What happens sometimes is nerves get the better of people and they just go to crap. And so I know I had 2 students last semester, very bright students, and they were rubbish in the Viva, really, really rubbish. And so all I did was I asked them some more questions, because I knew they knew the answers, but they just hadn't presented them. And when I asked them the questions, they knew the answers, and so I could score them. Yeah?
Yeah.
But I'm not, there's no questions in this usually, it's by exception. So it's either because you don't own it, it's not your work, or you have given such a rubbish answer, you haven't scored enough, so I've got to push you a bit to try and get some marks out of you. Okay? You know, it's by exception. Otherwise, it's just a conversation. Here's my 9 things I'm going to tell you about, Mark, in 7 minutes. You know, I've got to tell you a 7-minute story. Does it have to be perfect? No. Does it have to be perfectly scripted? No. As I said to you before, I'm not interviewing you for a post on the BBC to read the 9 o'clock news. Okay? That's not what we're here for. Okay, so it's just showed me I've done some research, I understand these different concepts, here's my evidence. If you've had the pre-interview with me, then you know what's happening already. Okay. So, that's enough of that. Okay, so that's going to take me on to, we can come back to it, because I did promise ad nauseum until you're sick of it. For some of you, week 6, first part of the week, you're already there. Others, you're close. And other people, you've got a big lot of work to do still. But we're early doors, we're early. It's week 6, and we're doing work for week 9. We're nearly complete, some of us, or well on our way. I don't want to be talking about this assignment after week 7, really. You should know where you are by then. But I am going to talk about the next assignment now.
Yes.
And
Now.
lead you to, yeah, because we need to do 2 things today. Okay, so in this lecture today, I'm going to do 2 things. Okay, actually 3 things. I'm going to talk about the assignment generally, the second assignment, and then I'm going to do 2 bits of lecturing. Okay, but not too much. I'm not going to do very much today at all, because as far as I'm concerned, you worked on your assessment, etc. And because some of this we've already done before as well. So, first of all, let me talk about the second assessment, right? There are 2 elements to it. Now, the first is about leadership generally, and leadership of your organisation. So when you talk about your CEO, before you talk about your CEO, you need to have a definition of leadership, generally. And I got you to look that up. It's on my slides as well. But just before you talk about your CEO, you'll say, this is what a leader is. This is my leader, or the leader for my company that I've chosen. And then you talk about that leader. Okay. So that's the first assessment.